Hey guys, I want to show you my first successful cabinet conversion. I chose POW, Prisoners of War, to include in my arcade. The story of how I chose that PCB is probably worth mentioning. So Galaga has been down for a while. I tried to buy a replacement board from a store called Chattanooga Pinball on eBay. And when they went to test it, to send it to me, it didn't work. So a gentleman named Dale, who's the customer service guy, sent me a check for my refund. I was a little disappointed, not only that I didn't get the board, but that I had to wait for the check rather than a PayPal refund or something like that. Dale was very apologetic and offered me a $50 credit off anything in their eBay store. So I found POW in there. I knew it was a horizontal JAMA game. And I used to play it as a kid at the liquor store down the street from my house. So there's a lot of nostalgia there. Personally, I think it's a really solid beat 'em up. Came out in 1988. I think it's better than Double Dragon in my opinion. It's not slow as hell when you got more than 4 characters on the screen at a time, so that's always a plus. But anyhow, so I chose POW. I decided I'm going to do my first conversion to this cabinet, which when I got it was a MVS single slot Neo Geo. The single slot Neo Geo is a JAMA standard compatible board, unlike the multiple slot Neo Geo. The only difference is it has that extra button, which just doesn't do anything if you plug the harness to, say, a 2-button or a 3-button game. So the board arrived, it worked, it was great. And just to tell you where I got some of the other stuff for the conversion, the marquee is a reproduction from a place called GameOnGraphics.com. If you go there, you'll find a lot of reproduction art for a lot of great games. But sadly, they did not have artwork for the bezel or the control panel. So I had to get a little creative. I went online and tried to pull up basically the least blurry images of the bezel that I could, and I copied the instruction cards that were there. I created these in iDraw and printed them out on some cardstock at Office Depot. I think they came out pretty good. The bezel I have in here is the same one I already had, which is basically just, I think it was like a tri-fold board I got from Michaels or something like that. So that part's a little generic, but I find it to be non-offensive, and at least it looks good with the instructions on there. So that's what I did for my bezel. For the control panel, also, I couldn't find any reproduction art. I was trying to think, what am I going to do? I said, wait a minute. I can use some wrapping paper, some camouflage wrapping paper. So I called around, found some at a local party store, went and grabbed that. It was about $5. So it cost me, I think, just a couple bucks to have the bezel instruction cards printed. $5 for this. The marquee shipped from Game On Graphics was like $23 or something like that. Really, really cost effective. And I decided to make it super easy on myself. And rather than replace this plexi, which is to get my control panel image, I just took this plexi off and used it as a stencil on the wrapping paper. Rather than replace this, though, I decided to just plug the extra holes, and I got these. These are made by Suzo Hap, who they're like the only manufacturer of arcade parts anymore. But I actually purchased the hole plugs from FocusAttack.com. I think that each one was like $1.50 or something. And Focus Attack is primarily a great resource for your console fight stick parts and all that. But yeah, they also carry arcade stuff. So that's where I got those. And just to show you, if you look inside, they plug in like any other button would, and they just have a plastic nut on there. So that was really easy. And here I just left the extra button hanging out. It's not going to harm anything. So the conversion was really easy, guys. So just keep, those are some things to keep in mind. If you're converting a JAMMA game, maybe think about converting to a game that has fewer buttons or the same number of buttons that your control panel already has. That way you could just plug the hole, and if you want to convert it back, you can just unplug it again. Yeah, and it saves you having to totally redo your control panel, or at the very least buy a new piece of plexi. This control panel, when you look under there, there's been so many holes put in the metal, it's like Swiss cheese. So you would never know it though from looking at the front. I think it came out great, and hopefully these couple tips and ideas will help to make your first conversion an easy one. Thank you for watching. I'll see you later.